What's up, everyone? It's the Interview Queen Alicia Toot here, and be sure to watch True Heel Heat.
You already know what time it is, man. The young goat in the building. Make sure you tune in to True Heel Heat podcast.
This is Timothy Barr from MLW. Make sure you give a listen to one of the greatest podcasts in the world, True Heel Heat.
This is the knockout artist, Chris Hero. And if you're looking for some true heel heat, you better listen to them boys.
What's going on, everybody? This is your former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Once a champion, always a champion. Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. You're watching True Heel Heat podcast.
Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Heel Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for our NJPW, the new beginning in Osaka 2025 review. And you see the headline, you see the thumbnail, it happened. Goto Revolution has arrived from 0-8 to celebrating the biggest win of his career with confetti everywhere, with the fans of Osaka sold out, cheering his name with his kids by his side. Hirooki Goto is your new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, and we're here to discuss the huge show that had a lot more to it. So, of course, to do that, I am joined by my esteemed colleague. You know him as the MC of the past, present, and future of New Japan Pro Wrestling here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. It's your boy, Jay News. How you doing?
Oh, man. Like I was mentioning to you before, man, I'm tired. My sleep's been messed up the last couple days. Not, as a matter of fact, not even having to do with New Beginning like I was explaining to you. I actually watched New Beginning live and in color. And quite the show. A lot to discuss about the show. A lot of things to admit to on my side, SP3. But yeah, man, we have to break this down. Great show. Just wanted to go off top, just talk how great the show was.
I waxed lyrically, as they would say, about the show on In the Weeds yesterday on Fightful Overbook, because I couldn't control myself. I had to talk about that show, because that show that gave me like I think that the big difference for me from like a good New Japan show, a very good New Japan show, and one of those like all-timer New Japan shows is when I'm watching live and I don't need coffee like towards the last 3 to 4 matches. If one of those last 3 to 4, maybe 5 matches, if there's a banger in there, that's like an adrenaline rush. It's like a rush of adrenaline that gets you up. And this show had a couple of them that kept you ready to go until the main event. And then the main event delivered an instant classic as well. So I'm very excited to talk about it. I agree with you. A great show from New Japan Pro Wrestling. But we want to hear from all of you. What did you guys think of NJPW's The New Beginning in Osaka 2025, excuse me. Always get the years mixed. It takes me like a month or two to get the years right. But we appreciate y'all if you're joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. Drop the thumbs up on the video. Share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you guys, especially our New Japan Pro Wrestling fans here on the channel. So sound off if you watched the show. If you didn't watch this show, if you want to hear our thoughts, if you got a question about it, sorry about that, let us know in the live chat or send a super chat donation if you want to show your support in the best way possible. It goes back to the contributors that you see on screen with us here, and we always appreciate the support. Like Jay News's #1 fan, Genesis J's in the chat. Thank you so much, Genesis J, for joining us. He says, no longer a bridesmaid, now the bride. Goto. Indeed.
That was my first thought after that bell rung. And I was like, that exact phrase came across my head. And I was like, yeah, he's no longer the bridesmaid. So this is crazy. I feel like it's been quite some time since I've heard a New Japan crowd that passionate and that behind one singular wrestler. It felt so old school but so invigorating at the same time. So it was definitely that what you were talking about, right? Is that adrenaline rush I was feeling. A lot had to do with the crowd that was there. They were very vocal, very loud, very passionate about that night. But when the Goto match came across, they were in it every second of the way.
Yes,
they were pushing for that win, and it seems like they listened to the crowd at the end of the day, right? And that was cool. But I missed a preview match, so we'll go over that as start and stuff like that. But by majority, man, that moment, and another moment on this show was very, very important and poignant to me. And we'll talk about that when we get to it, because I think I saw some sort of I saw a headline say the new generation is here, right?
Yeah.
And I said to myself, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, but we got to see where the third one is going to go. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they're not just talking about the Three Musketeers. They didn't say the Three Musketeers are here. They say the new generation is here. Like, just because there's some stragglers who are behind pace, that don't mean that the new generation ain't here.
No, they're here. They're here. They definitely here. And yeah, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
This man always with the negativity. So let's just get it out the way before we get into the show and everything. David Finlay has been announced for the
New Japan Cup, man. So yeah, we'll get this out of the way. They mentioned it plenty of times during the New Beginning show, right? I thought he was on his way out. I thought he was on his way to do what Ricky Starks did last night on NXT. That's what I thought he was going to do. You know,
folks, if you missed our preview, this man was up here trying to have a freaking celebration. Try to pat himself on his own back like he's Barry Horowitz out here.
I used to be able to do it. I can't do it anymore. but yeah, man. You know what? I'll take the L, man. David's on his way back. From the looks of things, he's been announced for the New Japan Cup, like SP3 said. He was obviously mentioned plenty of times during the New Beginning show. Shouts to Clark Connors for being Walker's wingman during the night at the end of the day. So that was cool. And it seems that there is a contingent of the New Japan faithful that sees David Finlay as a future IWGP World Heavyweight Champion.
Not a contingent. There's a loud minority. We'll give it loud minority for now. Well, I won't say majority, but there is a lot of people that respect David Finlay enough that knows he's earned that opportunity.
I can respect anyone's opinion. Everyone is obviously, as a human being, can have an opinion. Doesn't necessarily mean, should I say, that your opinion will come true, because it happened to me. Obviously, I thought David Finlay wasn't going to come back. You know what I'm saying? And now he's here, you know. But I do see David Finlay being... You didn't think.
You said you knew.
Oh, yeah. I felt it in my bones, man. I felt it in my bones. But at the end of the day, I was wrong. I was so wrong. I was wrong, man. I was wrong, man. And, you know, it happens. I will own that. I will take the L here. And if it all shapes out the way it's supposed to shape out, it seems like that loud New Japan fan minority might get their wish somewhere down the road. But I ain't with the shits. I ain't with it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's gonna happen. I think Goto needs a strong run at the end of the day. The wily veteran, one of the most innovative wrestlers in all of New Japan history.
What? Goto needs a big and long run now? Now this? That's preposterous.
What?
Goto don't need no long run.
Oh no, I'm not talking about I'm talking like let's say, for example, Zack had a 4.5 month run. I'll be cool with Goto doing the same thing, or maybe a little bit longer.
Nah, he can do shorter. He can do shorter. It's all about the moment. It's not about the reign. It's about the moment.
You know, I don't know, man.
He's got 2 old dudes lined up for quick wins. He can get 2 title defenses under his belt before Sakura Genesis, where he drops the title to New Japan Cup winner David Boss Dog Finlay.
You think that's gonna happen, son? You think that's gonna happen?
I've been calling it since he made his entrance at Wrestle Kingdom. Boss Dog. Machine gun.
There's a to your point there. The machine guns, as you say. There might be enough time within the next 90 days. There seems to be this Bullet Club beef. Someone's got to straighten it out. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, with Chad, Too Bad Chad out there being a free agent and has his arm in a sling, he can talk on a microphone. He's got 90 days. So he's got 90 days to straighten some things out. So it seems like we're going to have some Bullet Club warfare here between the House of Torture and the War Dogs and stuff like that as well. So I feel like that might be, I don't know if it's going to be a side story, if it's going to be David's main story going into what's going on with the New Japan Cup. We shall see. But yeah, I think that I agree with the fact that I agree with your point of saying that David will get a shot at the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. As for him winning, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just don't, you know. I don't know, man. I don't know. Just
him and Goto have developed a nice little rivalry since the G1, since that Kurgan Hall matchup in the G1. They had a great match for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. So I think that David Finlay beating Goto makes a lot of sense. And then he probably drops the title to either Tsuji or Kid. Makes sense. Makes sense to me.
That the ladder right there. That seems like that's something that should take some time to build, don't you think?
Well, of course. That's why David Finlay is going to have a 9-month run.
9 months.
Going to be on top until Wrestle Kingdom next year.
9 months? God damn. That's a long time.
Until Wrestle Kingdom next year. We're going to be living in a David Finlay era. You want to know how you know the lion? You know the lion mark is back? David Finlay, IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. No, but we cannot start booking the next IWGP World Heavyweight Champion because we got to talk about the current one, the new one. There was a lot to discuss from the new beginning in Osaka, so keep coming with those comments in the live chat. And of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to get back to what we do here, send a super chat donation. So let's first talk about that crowd in Osaka. One of the best crowds New Japan's had in a couple of years.
In a few years for sure, man. It was something to, and mind you, it was late at night here in New York when it was 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever. I couldn't have my TV turned up, but even at the point where I couldn't have it turned up, I knew they were turned up. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, it was they were buzzing. They were loud. They were passionate, dude. It was everything. That Osaka crowd was everything they needed it to be. And I'm not too sure if it had to do more with the moment or like, I mean, it had to, okay. Let me rephrase. It had a lot to do with the moment that eventually came, and secondarily, also Walker mentioned during the telecast that this is going to be New Japan's last show at this particular venue for quite some time because they're renovating this venue. So I guess. It could be it's a layered approach to the sense of that fans know that they're not going to be able to come to this particular arena for New Japan shows for a couple of years due to renovations and stuff like that. So they wanted to be loud and passionate and everything else in between, plus everything else that was going on in the show as well. But the crowd was awesome, man. Like I said, it just felt like old school New Japan. Just the cheer, just the how they got behind their favorites and stuff like that, and it kept that energy so high throughout the show. And I loved it, man. I definitely loved it.
Yes, real good energy, right from the start. We had the pre-show matchup that you mentioned earlier, which was United Empire's Francisco Akira and Jeff Cobb going up against El Desperado and Kazuyo Morishima, the Young Lion, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion El Desperado in this matchup against his next challenger, Francisco Akira. Akira and Jeff Cobb, of course, have the experience as a team here, but it really came down to the matchup between Akira and Despy, and that's why I was saying that Osaka crowd was into things right from the start, right from Akira and Desperado squaring off to start this matchup, and in the end, it came down to them as it looked like Despy was trying for Pinche Loco on Jeff Cobb. It was Akira who rolled him up with a sunset flip for the 1-2-3, pinning the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion before they square off for the title coming up at the 53rd anniversary in March, on March 3rd. So big win here for Akira. Like Morishima here. I just a guy that continues to kind of stand out and show that fire as a young lion. He looked good here, but Akira and Despy, man, they had the potential to really tear it up coming up at the 53rd anniversary.
Yeah, man, I feel like Francesco here is coming into his own, man, and it's not more negativity. This is more of an observation. It seems at this point that Francesco Akira him and Okan are the remaining members of the United Empire. There's all these rumors about, if folks don't know about Jeff Cobb's future and things.
Well,
of that
Jeff
nature.
Cobb had the post match interview backstage where he kind of alluded to kind of just being at peace with everything he's accomplished in New Japan and kind of teasing that he was leaving. And then the rumors started that he might be leaving to go to AEW because he's worked with them before.
Right. And I don't necessarily like SP3 stated and I stated rumors, right? We don't necessarily know if any of this is true, but it seems to be going down that route. Callum Newman's been gone since the new year. Don't necessarily know since they introduced Jacob Austin Young as the junior of the team at this point. Don't necessarily know what Callum Newman's future is in New Japan Pro Wrestling per se. TJP's gone now at this point. Obviously, we know Will Ospreay's over in AEW and whatnot. So is Big Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher. And it's Okan, it's Akira, it's Jacob Austin Young. That's all they got left, man. That's all the Empire's got left. And I'm not gonna call it the end of an era yet at the end of the day, but it just seems like it's walking down that path. But Akira showing tremendous fire in the last couple of shows, especially now in this show, him getting the pin over Despy. They're ready. I agree with you, man. They're gonna definitely tear the house down. I don't think it's Akira's time yet. Despy still holds on to this after the anniversary show, but he'll definitely be able to. He, as in Francesco Akira, he'll be able to definitely set himself up for a good future as a singles star in the junior division.
Yeah, I thought that Despy and Akira had one of the best best of Super Juniors matches. What was it, 2 years ago? So I expect that this one should be an absolute banger again for the Junior Heavyweight Championship coming up on March 3rd. We got a super chat donation here from our good brother, member of the channel, moderator, Vala B. Thank you so much, Vala B. Always appreciate you in the chat, especially giving your knowledge, giving your insight on New Japan Pro Wrestling. Vala B says, Jeff Cobb said he might be leaving, but he's in the New Japan Cup. Same for Callum, same for David Finlay. So maybe they signed an extension or they're on more of a per date deal. Something like that, because that is interesting. That without further ado, we might as well just look at the bracket because we talked about it enough times. Let's look at it here after Vala B. Thank you so much for the super chat donation. But this is the bracket for the New Japan Cup, starting off on March. I believe it's March 7th. You got Yota Tsuji versus Evil coming off the heels of what happened at New Beginning in Osaka. The winner of that matchup will face David Finlay on March 11th. You got Yuya Uemura making his return, facing Sanada, coming off the heels of New Beginning. The winner of that match will face Yoshihashi on March 11th. Roye Uyowa versus Chase Owens, and Gabe Kidd versus Ren Narita will be on March 8th. The winner of Uyowa and Owens will face Zack Sabre Jr. The winner of Kidd and Narita will versus Taichi. El Phantasmo versus Great Okan March 9th, along with Tetsuya Naito versus Callum Newman. The winner of ELP and Okan will face Shota Umino, and the winner of Naito versus Callum will versus Jeff Cobb. Tomohiro Ishii versus Drilla Maloney. That should be a banger. The winner of that match on March 9th, along with Bolton Oleg versus Bad Luck Fale, is the final first round matchup. The winner of Ishii and Drilla will versus TJP, and the winner of Oleg versus Fale will versus Shingo Takagi.
Okay. The lone bracket piece here that kind of like confused me was the El Phantasmo Great Okan Shota Umino one, but I guess that's just due to how Shota did last year. I'm assuming, right?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
don't
know what to tell you. What are you asking me for?
Kind of weird. That's all. I just find it kind of weird. But
I am calling for a
what side of the fence is he on here?
Who? Finlay. Finlay's on the left hand side, so he's looking at a matchup because I think that Tsuji and Evil, if they're facing in the tournament, this is probably set up a title match, so Evil wins that one. So it'll be Finlay versus Evil, because that plays off of what happened at the show as well. I think Finlay wins that. Then in the next round, out of the next 3 that he would face, I think the most likely would be Uemura, because that plays off of his history from the G1.
Agreed.
So he can get that W there. Then from the bottom half of the bracket, I could see Zack coming out of that. I don't know. I think maybe Gabe can lose to either Narita cheating gets you get both you kind of split the House of Torture versus Bullet Club matchups on this left-hand side, where you have Narita cheat to beat a Kid by some nefarious way or something like that, and that could set up a strong openweight title match down the road. And you could do Zack coming out of this bottom half. Zack or Oyoa. Oyoa versus Zack should be a great match in the second round.
Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, hey.
So yeah, I got David Finlay and Zack on the left-hand side. Right-hand side, I'll wait for our preview.
I think that you mentioned it earlier. And I think it ends up on that side. It ends up David versus Gabe, just for the precursor of it all, right?
Yes.
On that side of the bracket, and then on the other side of the bracket,
I mean, I thought the same thing. I had to read the Bad Luck Fale's name twice because I was like, wait, what? Yo, Fale, the last time I saw you were just in the random IWGP Tag Team title match. Now you're in the New Japan Cup?
Hey, man.
Are we that devoid of talent?
No, they're not, as a matter of fact, as we well know. But, you know, the rogue, the leader of the rogue army needs his 3 to 4 matches a year, bro. So this is the New Japan Cup is one of them at the end of the day. Oh, man. Put the bracket back up for a minute.
I can't.
So on the right hand side, some of our constituents here in the chat are talking about Shota Umino and how interesting it might be, and things of that nature. We shall see how that all breaks down. The road for Shota Umino is one that might have a light at the end of the tunnel. We just have to see as to what happens here. As SP3 said months ago, I will reiterate it here. Even though, let's say, Shota Umino turns heel, I still don't want him anywhere near the House of Torture. That's just me personally.
Yes, I agree.
If they find an angle, because he did shave his hair, right? If they find an angle where he basically takes himself back to the beginning of his wrestler, you know, him being a wrestler, like going back to the dojo and competing with the freaking young guys and shit like that.
Like they go through a whole career arc with him in the New Japan Cup, where he goes from young lion shooter to going to the UK shooter to just came back shooter to baggy pants shooter to a new version of shooter by the end of the tournament. Yeah,
because if he let's say, for example, let's say he ends up in the finals of the New Japan Cup and he loses, right? That would be a call for another excursion at the end of the day to take time off and continue his character arc and whatnot. That's just me spitballing. But hey, at the end of the day, the Umino thing is interesting, depending as to where they want to go with it. And yeah, man, we'll see how it all ends up. I feel like I can't call it right now with the New Japan Cup. I can't call it. Takagi's on that side, so Shingo's always a strong proponent in any tournament and stuff like that. So
we're gonna save our predictions for the right hand side and for the finals and the winner for our preview. So be on the lookout for that. We'll definitely get that done before probably the first week of March or earlier than that. We shall see. And also we got to do a preview for 53rd anniversary, because there's a lot of big matches on that card as well. But yes, keep coming with those comments in the live chat. Love to talk about Shota Umino. I love how now everybody in the chat want to go for Shota Umino. All right, I see y'all. That's funny. Y'all funny. All right, let's talk about the main card for the New Beginning in Osaka. It started off with Hiroshi Tanahashi's final road kinship talking about an old rival here, Toge Makabe. Makabe, of course, he's past his prime. We knew what we were getting when we signed up for this one. We had a couple of callbacks to their past matches. Makabe actually getting a near fall on a bridging German suplex, the original way that he defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi in their first matchup all the way back in 1999. But it was Hiroshi Tanahashi who kept fighting back after even missing the high fly flow. I opted for a sling blade. He went for the high fly flow. He missed it again. Tanahashi, though, he reversed Makabe's King Kong lariat. He rolls him up with the O'Connor roll. On the second try, he gets the bridge for the 1-2-3. This was fine. It was quite enjoyable for most of it, but I mean, yeah, there's no denying that this kind of fell apart towards the end. It felt like Tanahashi couldn't execute the O'Connor roll. Makabe was kind of awkward on certain stuff. The feet work wasn't always there, so it struggled a bit. But it had the vibes for the most part.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna give it 3 stars. I think I'm being generous, but 3 stars.
Yeah, you're definitely being generous. It wasn't kind of sloppy at the end. It was just sloppy. You know what I'm saying? Forget the negativity. This is all criticism. The Prez is the Prez. We all know what this is about this year. I've said it since we've started New Japan, since we've started this entire project of being on True Heel Heat, me being on here for New Japan stuff. I've never been a fan of Makabe. And this match, to me, was unnecessary. Unnecessary. God damn it, man. Man. We know Tana can't do everything he used to do. We know that. But this is the last year Tana's going out. He's going out on his sword. He's going out on his back. We should not be out here trying to parade him where he's almost embarrassing himself. That's not a good look. We gotta make Tana look good at the end of the day. And this didn't make Tana look good. But I'm damn sure this didn't make Makabe look good. And I was like, I don't need anything from Makabe anymore. I just don't. Nah. This wasn't it for me, man. This wasn't it for me. I was disappointed in this. I was disappointed with this from the jump when they announced this match. And I was like, what? Why? I was like, what? I would have rather Nagata, but that's just me because Nagata can still go and he's older than Makabe. So have at it. But it is, this wasn't it for me, brother. It just wasn't. Hopefully the rest of Tanahashi's year goes well. But this was not something I was looking forward to, and it did, and it ended up disappointing me at the end of it. So that is what it is.
It ended up disappointing as well. We got in the chat. Call me Mr. Bonda says, glad I missed that opener. Came in at the second match. Laughing face emoji. This man watched the New Beginning the right way. Next up, we had the second match on the main card, J News, and this was one that we were looking forward to when we talked about it on the preview. Drilla Maloney going up to the heavyweight division, facing another guy who was perpetrating or lying to us as a junior heavyweight, Shingo Takagi. What started off as a filling out process soon quickly transitioned into acrobatics and stiff action between both guys. You get both men had to win the matchup immediately. Takagi's normally brutal chops were no-sold by Maloney, who just looks bigger every time I see him. We get German suplexes going back and forth. German suplexes were no match for Maloney, though, as he was no-selling some of them. Big kick to the back of the head. We got reeling off of a spine buster. Takagi rolled meekly to the outside, clutching his head. Driller dragged his corpse to the outside and tossing him carelessly into some chairs. A fan in attendance left his seat amid the carnage, looking mildly inconvenienced by that. Back in the ring, Takagi evaded the Driller Killer. Instead, started striking him with elbows and chops and lariats. We get Driller, who actually lands a freaking made in Japan for a near fall. Driller tried to go for another one of Takagi's big moves, but Maloney was only able to hit that. And then the roaring Osaka crowd really got into things when Takagi hits off a big sliding lariat, a pumping bomber, but they were left aghast as Driller Maloney was able to catch Shingo in midair, then transition him from a power slam into the Driller Killer. 1, 2, 3. Driller Maloney gets his first win as a heavyweight in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he just pinned who Jay News calls the greatest IWGP World Heavyweight Champion of all time. These two guys, man, they had a hell of a sprint. This was all thriller, no filler. I think it was about 11 minutes, and it was all action the entire way. Hard hitting, high impact, and the Driller Killer is probably the most protected finisher in New Japan Pro Wrestling right now. I gave this match 4 stars. This was a hell of a way to kind of get the in-ring greatness that would go on this show going with this match here.
I do not disagree with you at all, sir. This was something my only thought going into this match is how's Driller going to look? How's Driller going to look? How's Driller going to look in this match? And just trying to remember like older matches that I remember, older singles matches of him that I remember when he was bigger, especially working on the UK indies and things of that nature. And I was like, he moved around well. He was always a hard hitter. So I wonder how the style, how he'd be able to come back to that style, especially now since he's coming up from the junior division, quote unquote, and stuff like that. And he was in there with the best of the best, and he was able to, and he delivered, man. He delivered. So I can't get that past him at this point. When he hit him with the Driller Killer and he spun him around on his shoulder, just that I was like, word, we showing off now, dude. Like that's how we doing things. It was cool to see. So something different from him. He's definitely now a certified BMFer and stuff like that. So he might be in line next, or he might be in line down the road, not next, but down the road with Takeshita and things of that nature. So hopefully he'll be able to see that match and see how he can hang with one of the best in the world today. So that match versus Takagi though definitely set off the rest of the show for me. So definitely a dope match. Driller doing his thing, Takagi doing his thing as always. And yeah, man, this woke me up and it kept me awake for the rest of the show.
This was my first shot of some coffee that I got. This was like 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m. This matchup was going on. So yeah, this was a good way to kind of get things going on the show. Next up, we had another kind of grudge match here, but this one a little bit more personal. The Great Okan going one-on-one with Shota Umino. And I think the biggest factor of this matchup was that crowd in Osaka. As Great Okan got cheered during his entrance, and oh my God, did they boo Umino out this goddamn building as soon as he shows up through the crowd. Like they booed him uproariously. Umino tries to start things off more aggressive, and I would say this was, if you wanted a kind of a look into what heel Umino could be, this match was it. He worked this entire matchup pretty much as the heel. Umino was wrestling Okan, beating him up on the outside at ringside. He hits a big shotgun drop kick. Okan was able to fight back. He thrust Umino into the barricades. He continued his comeback, crumbling Umino with a big gut wrench suplex into the corner of the ring. Shooter fought back with the Inseguri and then a DDT. Osaka maintained their disdain for him regardless. At one point, Okan looked like he was mercifully kind of beating the hell out of this poor Shooter. He called upon the style of his former United Empire leader, Will Ospreay, who did the same thing to Umino, and drew boos, even though Will Ospreay was wildly popular. Okan on this night got cheered uproariously once again. This was ridiculous. This was hilarious to watch. Okan could do anything heelish, and it was viewed as the most babyface thing. And Umino could make a comeback, and it was viewed as a heel thing. Umino would make a comeback. He would even hit that little swinging version of the Death Rider. He was not able to hit the official Death Rider though, as Okan would quill his comeback. He STO'd him, then he transitioned into the Eliminator. 1, 2, 3. The Great Okan defeats Shota Umino in dominating fashion at the end here. It just looked like Okan was just straight up better than Shota Umino. Post-match, it looks like Okan is going to continue the embarrassment that he started on the tour when he cut his hair. He grabs some clippers at ringside, looking to shear Umino's head, but Umino stops him, grabs the clippers, sits in the middle of the ring, and the crowd gasps as he starts shaving his own head. He shaves his head, almost just big old bald spots in his head. He'll probably have the nice little crew cut when he makes his return. The journey of Umino has become quite fascinating, I will say. Regardless of how you think about him, whether you love him, whether you cheer him, whether you boo him, whether you hate him, you gotta say it's very interesting to watch show after show how this story is evolving, especially coming off the heels of the loss in the main event of Wrestle Kingdom. But this was another very needed chapter. Him getting washed by Okan and then shaving his head post-match. What is next for Shota Umino is the big question coming out of this matchup. The match itself, it was pretty solid. I gave it 3.25 stars. J News, what did you think?
This match was all about the post match. Is what this match was about. We've been clamoring, those of us who are hardcore New Japan fans, we've been clamoring for a change from Shota Umino for quite some time. And this is the beginning of that change. As to what it ends up being, we don't know as of yet necessarily. I have an inkling as to what it could be, but that would just be me projecting at the end of the day. But right now, him shaving his head, and like I said, him maybe doing the recertification of his young lioness would be kind of a cool storyline. But there's also another way they can take it as well if they want to heal him up and not put him with the House of Torture. Because it's out there, man. He could be a dog for real if he wanted to. You know what I'm saying? So David Finlay takes on people and he might retch him up and
With the battery in his back, and him joining the War Dogs would go into what I've been booking for months of David Finlay taking the group and having them turn on Gabe Kidd, because he putting Shooter in the group is going to piss off Gabe.
I'm sure.
So it will further that slow burn.
Right. So it could turn into that, but this was all for the this match was about the post match. Shooter needed a new coat of paint. He needs something new to go with, and this is the start of it. They got there. That's what I needed. The match itself, like you said, it was solid. I liked the fact that Shooter started out aggressive. It showed some heel tendencies here and there. He did, like, when he still came out he still came out in the crowd, but he didn't high five the kids. He didn't have the paper belts. He didn't have none of that. He just came out stone cold face killer time. Now it was like, oh, Shooter's trying something different. I wonder why. Let's see what happens here. So we'll see as to what happens with Shooter Umino. Hopefully this works in a good way for him. This eventual transformation, how we get to the end point, will be all up to creative over at New Japan. So hey, I'm all for it. I want to see as to what happens if this new wave for Umino doesn't work. I don't know what you're gonna be able to do with it, man. I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know. They're
on the right path. They're on the right path.
It's a good start. It's a good start. Yeah, it's a good start.
Good start. Next up, you had the fourth match on the card here. It was another grudge match. Sanada going one-on-one with Taichi. You get Sanada coming out here, J News, with this new jacket. What do you grade the Sanada fit with the jacket and guitar?
Well, first of all,
looking like a Y2. Well, looking like Y2J meets ELP.
So that's funny, by the way. So first of all, Clark Connors trying to tell the U.S. or the English-speaking audience that this jacket here cost about $15,000. I said to myself, why?
Why is it $15,000? Who would pay that much for that jacket?
I was like, that's crazy. Oh man, it was nuts. And then for all intents and purposes, and like I said, and I'll say this, I felt like he did it purposely. But that guitar, they could have painted it. It could have gone with the Nah, they got a guitar to Sam Ash. They bought it that same day. And they put it in Sanada's hand. Like, what is this? It just didn't go with the flow of what he was trying to project. I'm like, you got a brown and oak wood acoustic guitar in his hand, and he's wearing black leather with a bunch of speakers on his fucking jacket, and you got him out here with a guitar. Like, what is this, man? What? It just no.
Nothing was the same. Nothing was the same. But yes, that attire was very good. He cuts off Taichi's entrance, hitting him with the big dive to the outside. Taichi had his gear still on. He started going at Sanada, hits him with a big boot. He tears using Sanada's acoustic guitar, but thought the better of it, perhaps because music and his instruments are sacred to him. That was nice, Taichi. Taichi battered Sanada on the outside, tossed him into the barricade. Taka Michinoku appealed to the better senses of Taichi once again when he tried to use a weapon. Taichi played it fair. Bullet Club intercepted, though, as Taiji Ishimori came out to help out Sanada. He dropped Taichi with the magic screw. Taichi kept up his stiff offense on Sanada, despite a glimpse of a comeback potential. You get Sanada avoided Taichi's best offense. He tried to grab Taichi's foot and act like he kicked him in the balls to distract the referee, but Taichi was able to block that, and it led to a nice little sequence where he did give him a low blow and then gets the Goto clutch for a great near fall. The crowd was really into this, and I gotta say, man, Taichi, for someone who started watching New Japan like 10, 12 years ago, I remember when Taichi was one of the most hated people in this company. Now he's one of the most over baby faces. It's very weird sometimes when I think about it. Taichi dropped Sanada with an enziguri. Sanada opted for another referee distraction, even though Taichi got a near fall on the dangerous backdrop. We get Sanada resulting to the low blow. Taichi's anger grew, leading him to lose focus with repeated referee spots, a low blow, and then another low blow, and then finally the dead fall for the 1-2-3. A little bit too overbooked at the end there with the shenanigans to cover up for the loss for Sanada, for someone who was just IWGP World Heavyweight Champion a year ago. It was kind of ridiculous at the end, how many low blows and referee distraction. It was almost House of Torture-esque, but the matchup was good regardless of that, because of the crowd being into everything. Taichi and Sanada working well with each other, so I gave the match 3.5 stars. Post-match, you get the Bullet Club War Dogs. You get Taiji Ishimori and Sanada jumping Taichi until Yuya Uemura. He's back. He comes out to make the save. He saves Taichi. He tries to go for the dead ball suplex on Sanada, but Sanada's able to escape. He gets on the mic and says that he is back, and just 4 guys is back together. They're actually 4 guys once again. I really miss Uemura, who really came into his own during the G1 climax, which made it very sad that he went out towards the end of that tournament. He's one of the most promising new stars in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and that was like the first indication outside of like Drilla getting the win early on. I thought this was the first big sign that this was going to be very much a landscape shifting night for the new generation. Was Uemura's return?
Yeah. I was I was thinking he might have come back for the New Japan Cup. That was really more or less like my thing about it, because I didn't necessarily know how far along he was injury wise and things of that nature. But he seems to be fully recovered. Unlike most people who tear a bicep, he from a aesthetic standpoint, he seems to be even on both sides. Unlike I think it was who Dunstan mentioned it. Sanada was still working hurt. He's not. It's just that his one arm is now going to look smaller than the other due to the way that he tore his bicep and things of that nature. It's happened to quite a few wrestlers over the years and stuff like that. I know Miro dealt with that as well, and John Moxley as well. But it seems like Uemura is on his way back. The new generation, the points that they hit throughout the night, right? We hit the shooter part of it. Uemura hit his part and things of that nature. We'll talk about Gabe Kidd and Tsuji and whatnot. Still the bottom of the totem pole man of the new generation is still doing the bottom of the totem pole shit. Talking about Ren Narita and whatnot, because he ain't about nothing at the end of the day. So there's that.
He ain't about nothing.
He ain't about nothing. But good to see Uemura back. Definitely want to see how far he goes in the New Japan Cup. The nicknames, though, Heatstorm, as Chops Mr. Banda, Heatstorm. I don't know, but it works. It is New Japan at the end of the day.
Hey, to be fair, I didn't think that Gene Blaster would work, but then I had my ass be during this matchup. Gene Blaster.
I mean, from a commentary standpoint, it works. But like when you just read the nickname, it's like, huh? I was like, okay, all right, cool. I guess let's go with it, man. Let's go with it. But no, good to see Uemura back. 3 of the 4 guys now back together. Doki's still hurt, obviously. So that is we're looking forward to that. Maybe we'll see a feud between Uemura and Sanada going forward. Since Taichi couldn't get the one up on Sanada, so we might be seeing that going forward. So we'll pay attention to those things. And definitely a solid match. To your point, though SP3 definitely overbooked. I felt like it worked because of everything that was going on during the Road 2 shows, right? Because that's what they were doing. But it's like, we can have a regular wrestling match, can't we? Like, it's like, but
you can have a regular wrestling match and just do the one low blow and then go to the finish. I don't need the ref spot, another ref spot, a fake low blow, a real low blow, another low blow, and then the finish. That's a little much.
It's a bit much. To SP3's point, it did feel like a House of Torture match instead of a freaking War Dogs match, to be quite honest. The War Dogs are more of a crude bunch, you know what I'm saying? They do whatever it takes to get it done. So it was it was it worked. There we go.
We got Genesis J. I love Genesis J. Going to give you credit for my opinion. I agree with my dog. They knew it really was overbooked.
It was all on SP3. I agree with SP3. I can't be taking credit for stuff that ain't mine.
this guy over here. Well, we got next up our first title match on the show for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. Ichiban Sweet Boys, Robbie Eagles and Kosei Fujita defending against Roppongi Vice, Rocky Romero and Yo. Eagles and Fujita isolated Yo in the early goings. I don't know what Yo was doing. Yo was doing his pec flexes for like an hour before the matchup.
When you talk about doing too much, man. Yo, keep on doing you, brother. But goddamn,
Rocky was able to come in and turn the tide, and I felt like, I don't know about you, I would have to like go back and rewatch the show all together again. But it felt like from like 5 minutes on, it was just a total tornado tag. It felt like I was watching a PWG or like late 2000s Ring of Honor tag team match. I'm not saying that as an insult. I'm saying that this is really fun for me to watch. It was just nonstop action after like that first 5 minutes where it was a traditional tag team. It just broke loose when we started hitting the dives. You get Yo coming in with a big super kick. He tried to go for a super kick, but he failed. Hits Rocky with one. He succeeds on Eagles though. Yo set up a top rope perch for Romero up for his finisher, but Eagles interjected. He hits a Hurricane Rana to cut things off. Romero avoided Roppongi Revice's combined offense on him with a double Hurricane Rana, but suffered a sweet buster for his troubles, taking him out of play. Then you get Eagles is in. He assists Fujita with a flying Enziguri, a German suplex combination, and then Fujita is able to pit Romero away with abandoned hope for the 1-2-3 for Ichiban Sweet Boys picking up the win here. I thought this was an absolute blast to watch, just nonstop action from all four of these guys, an entertaining watch, nothing kind of like out of this world, but just a really awesome matchup here. I gave it 4 stars. Post-match, you get Taiji Ishimori coming out. He's making the next challenge for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, and he says that his tag team partner will be his partner from the Super Junior Tag League, Robbie X. So they are the next challengers for the Ichiban Sweet Boys. A big win here for Kosei Fujita, picking up the win for his team against one of the greatest IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions of all time, Rocky Romero. So another big moment for a young guy on this show, and what I thought was a very fun matchup. What did you think?
That was definitely a fun matchup, man. Like you said, SP3, it started off slow for me. And I was like, where is this tag match going? These guys are juniors. Like this should be revved up to 1,000 by now. And then they revved it up to 1,000 and whatnot. And it was off to the races from there. It's been interesting watching Yo in recent weeks. He's continuing to do what Yo does, which is fine at the end of the day. Because that is Yo at the end of the day. But I don't know where he goes from here necessarily, right? So we'll see as to what happens with Yo. I think Rocky's got a lot on his plate for the next couple of months and things of that nature. So he's booking shows, he's got to make towns, he's got to book AEW shit, he's all over the place, So we'll see as to what happens with Yo. Ichiban Sweet Boys, fantastic tag team, these two together, man. Fujita and Robbie.
They're a perfect tag team because you got the veteran and Robbie Eagles, who just is so precise in the ring. He's so fluid with his counter work and his submission work, and he could do the high flying. And then you got Kosei Fujita, who's more of like the Romo Takahashi style junior heavyweight, who can do some of the high flying. He could do the dives to the outside, but he's all about the high, hard hitting, high impact, fighting spirit type of style that really kind of connects with the crowd. And he's already made that connection with the fans as well. And yes, I made note of it. It's in my notes, but I just skipped it over. But that dive, the tope suicida by Robbie Eagles, where he just banged so hard against the barricade, and I was shocked. A minute later, he was back in the ring.
He limped. He semi-limped his way to the back after the fact. He seems to have been okay, but when he landed when he did the hero part, right, the gainer part through the second rope, I instantly thought of Eddie Kingston's injury, because when Eddie got suplexed onto the barricade, his knee, the back of his knees hit the barricade, and that's the same thing that happened to Robbie. And I was like, oh no! And then he stayed down for a couple of minutes, and I was like, oh, shit is over, man. Shit is over. They got to call the audible now. And then he comes out, he slides into the ring, and I was like, oh, this motherfucker's Superman. I was like, okay, Robbie.
He's alive.
So I was like, all right, cool. But yeah, they Robbie, at least for the time being, from what we know, I don't think New Japan's reported anything about injury for Robbie. So he walked out in one piece, a little bagged up, but he was able to walk out on his own too. And they definitely showed that the junior tag division is on fire. So now we will see Robbie X and Ishimori get their shots at these tag team championships. So yeah, man, we'll see how it all develops. But I definitely enjoyed the match. It was a good tag match, to say the least. The high octane action, like you said, it was more like a tornado tag match than it was a regular tag match. And they kept everybody's head on a swivel, because we had to keep on moving with them throughout the match. But it was definitely entertaining. It was definitely good. Great spots in between, and thankfully nobody got hurt. So hey, that was the important part.
Thankful for that. We got Genesis J. It says awesome match. Dustin, who says very good match. Having hoping the next title bout has more story beats for Robbie X. We also got Big Man Dawes, who says, I thought Yo looked really clunky, but this show was great. Laughing face emoji. We also got Ninja Mortis, who says Yo was looking good when Leo was there. Well, and since then, random Rocky tag matches send him to AEW to trio with Leo. I don't know. This is honestly a more kind of like cemented tag tag team, Roppongi Reed Bites, that had a whole bunch of history to it. It's not random. It's actually, it made a lot of sense. Like if he was teaming with Ryosuke Taguchi, then your comment is right. Random Taguchi tag matches. He's teaming up with Rocky Romero. You know, the mentor that put him and his original partner together, that's been his mentor since he came back to New Japan Pro Wrestling. How is that random?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's because Yo's career has been very stop and start due to injuries, right? Has nothing more to do than that. There's no, I feel like there's a perspective where we don't necessarily know where Yo belongs, right? Is he a junior? Yeah. Is he a junior tag team wrestler? Can he be a heavyweight? I mean, look the man. First of all, if you take a look at Yo doesn't look like a junior anymore. So it's like, where's he gonna go? So especially now with the development of his character, right? It's just more of, it's all this ambiguity with Yo. We just don't know, and I think that's where he wants to keep us, where we just don't know. So that's where I'm at with Yo.
You don't know Yo.
There you go.
But next up, we had another big title match, never openweight championship up for grabs. Konosuke Takeshita defending against Boltin Oleg. We get a standoff between the big men to start things off. Takeshita tried to go hit for hit, strike for strike with Boltin Oleg, and Boltin Oleg kept his own. But the match really started kind of getting into things when they go to ringside. You get Takeshita pummeled Oleg with a top rope suplex that shook the whole ring after he throws him into the ring post to gain advantage and work over his injured arm. Miraculously, Oleg was able to make a spirited comeback, going so far as to throw Takeshita across the ring like he was a freaking teddy bear. We get a fireman's carry, earned Oleg a breather, leading to another big standoff between the two men. They start exchanging big forearms and lariats. The chops, though. The chops that these two men were exchanging were ridiculous. You get Takeshita at one point. Oleg looks like he's going for a big running move, and Takeshita reverses it into the Blue Thunder Bomb for a near fall. You get Boltin. He goes for the Boltin shake and nearly got the pin with the Boltin bomb. Takeshita was able to make his comeback with that Blue Thunder Bomb. They started trading elbows once again. Then Boltin Oleg fires off one of the loudest chops you will ever hear in wrestling. This thing echoed across Ideon Arena. It was ridiculous. You just go out of your way. It's probably a clip on social media somewhere where you can watch it. It was amazing. You get Oleg gain the upper hand. He folded Takeshita like a bad hand at poker while maintaining his wrist control after overwhelming Takeshita, who usually is the one that wins these forearm battles, especially with the world-class forearm. Desperately, though, Takeshita threw all the deadliest strikes that he could. He hits the world-class forearm. He hits the big knee strike, even a sleeper. He couldn't put Boltin Oleg away. Every time it looked like they were down, we get them a double big knockout between the two men, but Takeshita lands on Oleg's back. Oleg powers him up from nearly being unconscious. He looks like he's gonna go for the Bolton roll, but Takeshita is able to get the guillotine choke on, and then it looks like he's about to choke him out. Instead, he finishes him off with the Raging Fire. 1, 2, 3. Konosuke Takeshita retains the Never Openweight Championship in an absolute banger that, in my opinion, it's not even close. This is the best match of Boltin Oleg's career. He stepped up to the plate. He went toe-to-toe, strike for strike, chop for chop with one of the best wrestlers in the world. Konosuke Takeshita has 3 contracts for a reason, because he might be the best prospect, the best guy under 30 years old in wrestling today. And Boltin Oleg went out there and he went toe-to-toe with him. A guy that we had a lot of questions for. He was presented as an unstoppable force against an unstoppable force, which actually means a lot to me. Then you get post-match, Konosuke Takeshita looks like he's got nothing in his way, but instead he gets a new challenger coming out for him in Ryohei Uyoa. Ryohei Uyoa makes the challenge for the Never Openweight Championship. That is next on the plate for Takeshita for the Never title. But what a year Takeshita's already had. It's only 2 months into the year, but Takeshita, guys like Takeshita, guys like Yota Tsuji, guys like Gabe Kidd, they're already gearing up for like Wrestler of the Year campaigns. And Takeshita in the ring, he's already looking like that between the match with Ishii. He's got the big tag team matchup in Australia this week, and this one with Boltin Oleg. I gave it 4.5 stars. J News, what did you think about Oleg and Takeshita?
All I wanted to say, or all I did say in our preview, was that I needed Oleg Boltin to step up, right? Because from an in-ring perspective, I hadn't seen much from him as of yet. We all know, and I think we all agree, that Boltin Oleg doesn't have much of a character. That's still a problem, right? But I needed him to step up at least in-ring, because that's where Takeshita butters his bread. And if you can stay in there, go one-on-one, tip-a-tat with Takeshita in the big 2025, you've got my stamp of approval. And Boltin Oleg, I'll be watching, brother. I'll be watching, because now you got that stamp, and I need you to keep this train rolling all the way to wherever you wanted to roll to, brother. But keep it strong. Keep it strong. Boltin Oleg looked great in this match. Takeshita is still Takeshita, folks. Don't get it twisted out here. Takeshita's out here cashing checks and taking titles. Ain't nothing to it but to do it for Takeshita. And yeah, he's different, man. He's definitely different, and I appreciate that about him. Looking forward to the tag match at freaking Grand Slam Collision in Australia on Saturday and stuff like that. So that's where that is. Dustin, what did he say? So people complain that Takeshita's doing limb work on AEW, but we're quiet as hell when he does it in New Japan. See, I never complained about a Takeshita match in my life.
Me either. I like the Ricochet match at Full Gear, and I love the Hobbs match at World's End. So I don't know what people are complaining about.
Because people always like to complain about shit at the end of the day. So criticism can be criticism, but like sometimes motherfuckers just try to. I said that. Some motherfuckers just try to reach too damn far for shit. So there's that. But to continue with Takeshita, now Takeshita's next in line is Ryohei Uyoa, my main man from TMDK. Hopefully this is another step in the right direction for Uyoa, as 2025 hasn't done him much of anything as of yet, right? So we'll see where Uyoa kicks it into gear here against Takeshita and things of that nature. I would like to see where the Never Openweight division, as we see it coming together, right? We saw Drilla, we saw Takagi, Boltin Oleg, now Uyoa, obviously Takeshita being the champion and things of that nature. Ishii, the veteran, is still here, so we know we can't never forget about Ishii up in this piece, and maybe other talents down the road, because we don't know necessarily. So I would like to see where it all breaks down for Uyoa, and he's able to put the grip on Takeshita to see if he can win that title, because this will be his second shot at the Never Openweight Championship. So we'll see how it all breaks down for Uyoa, depending as to whenever they book the match for. So yeah.
We got Dustin who says he thinks it's going to be at Sakura Genesis. See that?
Does he have what is he defending at the anniversary show already?
Yeah, I believe. No. Takeshi's not defending at the anniversary show. Takeshi's probably going to be in AEW because I think that week is Revolution is the go home to Revolution.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, so Security Genesis sounds about right because he's got Tana at Windy City Riot. So yeah, sounds about right.
We also got Big Man Dog saying the people saying that only pretend to watch New Japan Pro Wrestling, the ones that complain about Takesha limb work. Next up, IWGP World Tag Team Championships up for grabs. The Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, or as I like to call them every time Matthew Jackson takes off his shirt now, the Jack Bucks. They defend against Los Ingobernables de Japón, Tetsuya Naito and Hiromu Takahashi. We got an uneasy handshake between the all four men. Takahashi used a surprise attack on the Young Bucks. Naito followed up with that, did their little double teams, doing their little double clothesline, which has really gotten over with the fans in Japan. Slowing down the otherwise high-speed action, Nicholas almost had control, had Naito not moved out of the way to hurt Matthew. We get Takahashi. He comes in, ran like the locomotive that he was, running around the ring doing cross bodies onto both Matthew and Nicholas. We get the Young Bucks come in and take control, super kick party to both Naito and Hiromu. Nicholas nearly gets the victory on a near fall on Naito. They go for the EVP trigger on Naito. They miss it the first time. They're able to hit it on the second occasion, but that is only able to get a near fall when Hiromu makes a save. They kept trying to avoid the Meltzer driver, did LIJ, and they were able to. Naito and Hiromu, though, knew the next time they had control, they had to follow through on it because they cannot give the Young Bucks another opening. So they went full throttle with all of their double team moves. You get the Hurricane Rana, you get the assisted Tornado DDT, you get a series of Destinos, including the final one on Nicholas Jackson after the big clothesline and taking out Matthew. You get the 1-2-3 by Naito on Nicholas, and we have new IWGP Tag Team Champions. Hiromu Takahashi becomes the first junior heavyweight since 1987 to win the heavyweight tag team championships in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Naito and Hiromu's synchronicity overcoming the teamwork and the brotherly bond of the Young Bucks. If only the Young Bucks had more performances in New Japan, because between Wrestle Dynasty and this match here, they were the best part of those matches. Like, the Young Bucks seem like they are back on their game. Of course, you got to understand this is not the Naito of 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. He is going to slow it down, but I thought Hiromu was really good here as well. I enjoyed this one. I don't know. I know there's going to be some people who didn't, but I enjoyed it. I give it 3.5 stars. What did you think?
I enjoyed it as well, man. To be quite honest, I felt like the Bucks did a great job adapting to what is now 2025 version of Naito, right? They did a great job adapting to that. They didn't have to worry too much about Hiromu. Hiromu did his thing, and the Bucks were the Bucks at the end of the day. I can't say anything bad about the Bucks in this case. They came in, they did their job. Because I was wrong about David Finlay coming back to New Japan and things of that nature, I can at least say I was right about my projection for this result here. I knew that LIJ was going to win, just because there was nothing that the Bucks did to highlight and really do anything for this match. So I didn't feel that the Bucks were going to come out the winners in this match per se. They weren't too involved story-wise, as you stated, SP3. So it seems like the Bucks are on their way back to AEW, depending as to whatever it is they're going to do over there. And we shall see what happens with Hiromu and Naito going forward. There's no clear tag team that'll be next in line for them, I don't think. We'll see.
No, we would have to kind of check their World Tag League, who beat them in World Tag League, maybe something like that.
Yeah, so no clear contenders coming out of this match or whatever the case is, because there was no post match stuff that happened in this match particularly. But yeah, I enjoyed the match. I thought it was heavily entertaining. The Bucks could have mailed it in, and they didn't. They just adapted and adjusted on the fly as they should have, and they made Hiromu and Naito look as good as they can. And as you were saying as well, we have to notice it. We have to know and understand at this point, Hiromu's going to carry these matches going into the future. So as long as Hiromu's still Hiromu, he'll be able to, I hate to use the term, but he'll be able to carry Naito for quite a while. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
We got Dustin who says the Bucks looked motivated. Yeah, they've looked motivated the last two matches for them, with the Wrestle Dynasty matchup and the match here. Hopefully they can keep that motivation when they make their return to All Elite Wrestling. Dustin asking, the big question is, what team does New Japan have? I mean, yeah, there's TMDK, but they haven't been around in a few months. There is the House of Torture. Yeah. There's Gabe Kid and Sanada, or maybe you could do Sanada and Drilla, or Drilla and Gabe, one of those combinations from the War Dogs. With no Jeff Cobb, that makes the United Empire interesting, because we got to wait for Hanare to get back.
Right. And we don't know how long that's going to take. You mentioned the War Dogs, and I was like, yo, isn't it about time for Jake Lee to come back?
I would think so. I would think that long term, they would probably, by the time we get to World Tag League, you would want the tag team for Bullet Club War Dogs to be Jake Lee and Sanada.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
But we gotta see about all that. We gotta see what happens there. But we shall see. Yeah, you got Call Me Mr. Bonda saying most likely to face Shane Hayes and Mikey Nichols. I could see that. Yeah, Bushiroad got to start paying some people, because we running out of names. Got a whole bunch of names that just mysteriously go away because New Japan doesn't write off people really.
Yeah, man. I mean, kayfabe isn't kayfabe in Japan, or at least in New Japan, right? So
they're just done. They just cut a promo, cut a post-match promo, say it's been real. Peace, y'all.
The only big thing I can see for their tag team division is the return of the Good Brothers later on in the year. But outside of that, it's like that's all I really got when it comes to that. Don't.
I can't wait for the big kaiju to come into New Japan Pro Wrestling. Tom Pescott.
Hey man, I wouldn't mind it necessarily.
I think I say it sarcastically, that stuff, but I actually do think that Corbin in New Japan is going to work.
I wouldn't mind it, man. Especially with what he's transitioning himself into, from a stylistic standpoint. I wouldn't mind it at all. So that would be. I think that'd be cool, man. It'd be something new, and Dunstan mentioned Kevin Knight is gone. Yes, that's right. A lot of people.
Where do people think he's going?
A lot of people have, from what I've seen, folks are trying to push him into the ROH AEW stratosphere. I've
seen him in an interview say that one of his goals is to win a Ring of Honor title.
Championship. Yeah, so I wouldn't mind that. Just more or less, he's a really, really good talent. And
I just worry though, because
I mean, we all worry. Look, when
we start putting those like under 25 prospects in AEW, it's starting to become like the under 25 prospects in WWE during the late 2010s, where you're not going to really see them do anything until they're close to 30.
Yeah, there's
I think Nick Wayne might be on the contract for the next decade, but we might see him on Dynamite 10 times.
It's interesting, right? Because they have all this talent, right? Both WWE and AEW, both. And Dunstan, thank you for mentioning Kevin Knight. And like you said in the interview, Kevin noted that he wanted to be an ROH champion, and he's done bookings for ROH in recent months and stuff like that. So now that he's a free agent, depending as to whatever it is he wants to do, there seems to be a small contingent of an AEW fan base that wants Kevin Knight to be the young boy of the Hurt Syndicate and things of that nature. That would be interesting if it happens. I don't necessarily know if there's you know the gentleman of the Hurt Syndicate would want him to be a part of the group per se, but you know it's a thing that's out there. And yeah, he's look, man. Kev's a friend of the show. Great talent. At the end of the day, I would want to see what kind of character / personality he comes up with to keep himself relevant in the US scene, because I think his time in Japan for the time being is done for right now. So we'll see how it all breaks down and all that.
Yeah. I hope it works out, because I can really see Kevin Knight being something if they have a long-term plan. You got to have a long-term plan with the young guys. Like, you have to kind of pinpoint who you want to kind of build for the future, and I think that Kevin Knight can be one of those guys for AEW.
For sure.
We got Ninja Mortis, who says Blake Christian is ready. Give him the ball. Blake Christian's been on a nice run in Ring of Honor ever since Final Battle, when he had that breakout performance.
Give me a clearer picture about Blake Christian, because you're online more than I am, SP. So there's a contingent of fans who really hate Blake Christian, who think he's like the scum of the earth, and then there's another contingent which is like, yeah, man, just give him the ball, let him run with it. It was like I don't know where to fall because I don't watch him enough. Like, where do you fall on Blake Christian?
I tend to see that the people that really hate Blake Christian do so because of stuff maybe he's done outside the wrestling ring, and then there's others that really hate him because he has a very familiar style. It's basically a hodgepodge of a couple of new rules, but just a hodgepodge of Will Ospreay and Ricochet spots. But like Will Ospreay and Ricochet, he's developed a personality that can outweigh just how good on all the crazy stuff he does in the ring. Like, sometimes that's what you need when you're one of those high-flying guys, and we've seen this throughout kind of like the last couple of years. That's been the real factor of the breakout guys who are considered flippy guys or high-flying guys. That's how they break out. They develop a personality. Will Ospreay, the everyday British soccer hooligan. Ricochet, Rick Murray from Degrassi, the nerd who got bullied and shot up the school. Like that, those characters, they relate more. And Blake Christian, he is the freaking nerd who had the glow up, and now he's a sleazeball fuckboy. That's his whole personality. He doesn't like I think he got with Missy Hyatt in GCW, but he comes off very scummy as far as like his attitude and his arrogance. So I think that's what's made him such a good heel in GCW, the independent scene, and then he really broke out as a heel in Ring of Honor at Final Battle in Hammerstein.
Yeah, that's where a lot of the buzz about Blake Christian's been coming a lot, because there's always a lot of comments in the ROH stuff when he appears on video clips, and I was like, damn, why is this kid getting so much heat? So much hate? What's going on? He was like, when I started watching Blake Christian, he was all heart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, now this is a complete 180. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know what's going on, but hey, man.
Ooh, that's a good shout. Kevin Knight as the young guy in the Hurt Syndicate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Though. There's a small contingent of the AEW fan base who see Kevin Knight as the young boy of the Hurt Syndicate. I know we all know Cedric Alexander was released from his WWE contract last week. A lot of people see him going over there, but that has to be figured out. And I'm not going to go to the extent of that. That has to get figured out.
But like you have more than enough titles that you can work something out. You can do something like Bobby in the heavyweight title picture, or maybe even potentially a future TNT champion. And then you put Shelton with Cedric, and then you put Kevin Knight on Ring of Honor representing Hurt Syndicate. You can do it like that. And then eventually, after like a couple of months to a year, he gets brought up to the AEW and being their young boy there, and then he could team with Shelton.
To be quite honest, I wouldn't mind him being the young boy over on STP. If we're going that route, I wouldn't mind that, because
No. Unfortunately, nah, because like Lee Moriarty is.
But Lee
he was the first young boy
True.
and yeah, he's the pure champion, but I can't really say his career has progressed enough, in my opinion.
I feel you. But yeah, man, Kevin Knight's too good to not necessarily get any burn in the U.S. market. So, you know, New Japan gave him a good platform to start on and things of that nature. Hopefully his future is bright. And yeah.
I love Mr. The Ginger Bird is like, he's Shawn fucking Michaels. That's the gimmick. Wait, Christian's going for. Yeah, douchebag scumbag. Fuck boy. Yeah, there you go. We got Dustin who says Cedric could benefit from a New Japan run. You put Cedric in this year's Best of Super Juniors? Holy shit. Give me that.
But said would have to drop some weight though. And that's no hit on said. You know, you got to be 205 and under. You know what I'm saying?
I understand. Drop to he got 90 days. He got 90 days to be in that gym. Like do Best of Super Juniors and get that New Japan shine on you. And I guarantee Tony Khan will give you a much bigger push than getting a WWE release. If you do a WWE release, then a nice little run in Best of Super Juniors, then Tony be like, hey Cedric, I just noticed you had like 25 missed calls from you.
Mr. Bonda told me, he was like, when you see Blake Christian, think Paul London, but with arrogant heel. Excellent. I got you.
Pretty much that. Also, Dustin, he says the TNT title needs a major story, man. It's been dead silent for months. I agree. I thought that the direction that they were going during the Continental Classic was Shelton beats Danny in the Classic, then he gets like a TV title match against Danny. He loses that, and it sets up Danny getting squashed by Bobby.
No,
I thought that was how they were going to put a title on the Hurt Syndicate, because I knew the way they came in and how cool and how much they got over, they were going to get a title almost immediately. I thought it was going to be the TNT title.
Well, SP3 done froze on us, but there you have it. No, I like based off the C2, I thought they were just going to have Danny go up against Shelton and just Shelton eventually beat Danny to a pulp and Shelton to walk away with the TNT championship at the end of the day, and Bobby would have been in the main title scene. But it seems that creative plans changed because
I don't think they ever had plans for him to be in the main title scene, because I don't see Bobby actually winning the world title this year. So don't put him in the world title scene if he's not going to win it. But
valid. I feel like plans shifted though. I think if I'm not mistaken, because they went with something at first. And then shit just pivoted all of a sudden.
Well, they pivoted. They decided to only do one match with Swerve and Bobby for that was what changed.
Yeah,
because they were going to do like, I guess, a series of matches.
Okay.
But it made more sense to just do the one match, put Bobby over, and let Swerve move on.
Fair enough.
But we got a couple. I mean, that's the question that a lot of us are asking.
Yeah,
huh?
I don't listen. That's why I said. It's something else to talk about. That's for another show, another thing altogether. They gotta iron that shit out. So, you know, but for all intents and purposes, it is what it is there.
It is.
Yeah.
But let's talk about one of the matches that everybody and their mama was looking forward to from this show. J News, Yota Tsuji defending the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship against Gabe Kidd. Gabe Kidd came down to the ring, and yeah, I put out the tweet almost immediately, J News. I was like, oh, Gabe is feeling it tonight. This dude came out skipping, doing this to his theme song, doing this to the chants of Gabe, Kid, different chants from the crowd. This Osaka crowd were just like, no, he's a bona fide superstar now. During his entrance, that was like the stamp of approval there. But Yota Tsuji got that and a little bit more, because he came out to a good ovation, and then he takes off the Rippleways. He's got on trunks. I didn't know there was another evolution. I thought that we met Charmander. I thought that we met Charmander in charge of this. I didn't know we didn't meet the Charizard version of Tsuji, but that's him with Trunks. I was like, oh, now you look like a main eventer. I was like, I didn't know what was missing. Then I saw that man in Trunks. I was like, that one was missing. Now he looks like a bona fide Wrestle Kingdom Tokyo Dome headliner. Oh, this energy of this crowd, the energy of the two men, the energy of this whole entire show. It was like it was building up to this one matchup. You get Gabe coming out with the trunks that he wore at Wrestle Dynasty. You got Tsuji wearing the trunks here. They start off, they go face to face, the roar of the crowd. You get Gabe talking his trash to Tsuji. Tsuji's talking trash back. They slap each other across the face, and then they just go in their different corners. The bell rings and they just go at it. They brawl to the outside. They're brawling for a bit out there. Kid once again remained in control against the barricade. He started beating on Tsuji over there. The two tick turns, echoing chops across the arena, thudding elbows. Each one just felt harder and sounded louder than the last one. Tsuji hits a chop that was so loud, my God, so loud and unpleasant that it just looked like he was just causing insurmountable pain to Finlay, to Kid here. Kid comes back. He's hitting him with big slaps across the face. The wear and tear of this exchange just was completely shown on both men's faces and their bodies. One of the biggest spots of the matchup is when they do a callback. Like the first 5 to 10 minutes were based on like 4 or 5 moves. This was very much, they built this matchup. The first half was the Young Lion template for a matchup, because even at the middle portion of the matchup, one of the biggest spots of the match, we get the Boston Crab put on. The wear and tear from the matchup. Tsuji, who was the master of the Boston Crab for his dojo class and got a lot of victories over the likes of Shoto Umino and Yuya Uemura and Kid with the Boston Crab. He tortured Kid. The fans were like cheering on Kid to make it to the ropes. Huge pop when he gets to the rope break. They fight their way to the top rope. Kid drops Tsuji and strikes him down with a big lariat. Tsuji quells his momentum by flipping Kid inside out with the lariat of his own. We get a frenetic exchange, and I love this. This matchup felt like a New Japan epic main event, because they would slow it down and then it would build to these like rapid fire counters and impact moves, the fighting spirit, the hard hitting action, the strike exchange. You get the knee from Tsuji. Every big move, it seemed like Kid would still get up. He would kick out. Kid would hit the big moves on Tsuji. Tsuji would still kick out. Tsuji hit a bunch of combination of moves. He goes for the Dream Blaster and Kid catches him with the drill a hole power driver. The crowd goes crazy. Roar of the crowd. You got Walker Stewart. You got Clark Connors going crazy on commentary. Clark Connors with the performance of his career on commentary. He is a professional wrestler, but that was one of the greatest performances of his career. Was this him being like the hyped fan of Gabe Kidd and describing why these fans now love Gabe Kidd, because they've seen him from the beginning. Gabe looked like an absolute star, by the way. His back looks like a billboard. He's gotten bigger somehow since Wrestle Dynasty. Just the energy, the vibes, everything was here to a T. And I was only wondering what exactly would be the finish to this matchup. We both predicted Yota Tsuji to get the win here. But I gotta say, I think New Japan actually made the right decision.
They did the right thing.
They did the right thing. They gave me the finish that I didn't expect. But when it happened, I was like, yeah, that was the right choice. That was the right choice, because the match ends with you get Kid. He's looking to hit his big knee. He exposes his knee with the tattoo, and Tsuji meets him out of nowhere with the Gene Blaster. Kid could not even get back up. He was selling the ribs. Tsuji tries his darnest to get on his feet. He's on his tippy toes before he collapses at the count of 9 by Red Shoes. He counts to 10. It's a double knockout. over 21 minutes of some of the most exhilarating in-ring action that you will see this year. Yota Tsuji and Gabe Kidd gave you Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada vibes just from standing across the ring from each other. They gave you Okada and Naito vibes. They gave you Tanahashi and Naito vibes. This is the rivalry that will define New Japan Pro Wrestling for the next decade, in my opinion, if this match is anything to go off of. In a double knockout finish, I think this is only the second time from me giving star ratings, and I think the first time was this is, I've done it a couple of times with New Japan matches, but I think this is the first time since Okada Omega 2. I'm going 5 stars on a match that ended in a draw for New Japan Pro Wrestling. I can't give it anything less. Like, this was absolutely perfect. The only kind of kickback that you could get is people that did not like the finish. But if you believe in both of these guys and you know these guys are going to be the building blocks for this promotion for the next 10 years, neither one of them could lose this matchup. So they did it in the best way possible. They went balls to the wall for over 21 minutes, and the match ends like that. And there's not a boo in the house. The crowd is cheering for the double knockout finish. Kid and Tsuji, they check on one another before giving headbutts to each other. Kid slaps Tsuji to the mat. Out of nowhere, though, the boos do come, because House of Torture is here. They attack Tsuji. They even get some kicks in on Kid. I was wondering, man, Clark Connors, you suck. You suck as a friend. You just sat there and watched him kick Kid. Like, what? As soon as they kick Gabe, you should have got your ass in the ring. What the hell are you doing? Then the lights cut, and Evil and Dick Togo make a surprise appearance. Evil actually gets a pop on his theme music playing. He seemingly comes in. He looks like he's defending Tsuji and Kid. But it's Evil. Like, we all know what's going to happen. He strikes down Tsuji, gives him everything is Evil. Evil then has the rest of House of Torture pick up Gabe Kidd, and Renderita blasts Gabe Kidd with the push-up bar. This finally gets Clark Connors out of his damn seat to go check on Kidd and try to get into the ring, but the House of Torture knock him off of the apron. Evil then gets on the mic and he declares the House of Torture would no longer be affiliated with the War Dogs. So the House of Torture were officially kicking the War Dogs out of the Bullet Club. They stand tall here, and like we said earlier, now Evil will go one-on-one with Yota Tsuji in the New Japan Cup. But man, I can't say I'm mad at the Evil return. I will say, I thought this was good use of it, because somehow, some way, those fans in Osaka bit on an Evil babyface fake out. Somehow, some way. And what did you think about the match itself?
So let me talk about the match first. A couple of years ago, because we've been doing this for a while, and you thought I was crazy. A couple of years ago, there was a during the pandemic era, there was a match between Yota Tsuji and Gabe Kidd when they were both still young lions, and it went to a time limit draw. And I gave it a 4.5. I gave it 4.5 stars. One of the few times I ever give a match a star rating like that. And you told me I was crazy. You told me I was nuts for giving young lions 4.5 stars on a match, and I said this match right here, this young lion match right here, was better than any other match on that card. And they had a freaking main event with the IWGP. They had a main event with Evil on that particular night. The case is, I said the young lion match was better. Fast forward 5 years. Fast forward 5 years. We're here. Gabe Kidd, Yota Tsuji ends in a double knockout draw. Like you said, I didn't mind the finish. I said to myself, they hearkened back to their young lion days so much in this match. And I haven't said this, I haven't seen this said anywhere or written anywhere. I'll say it because it's the way I felt, because of understanding and knowing a little bit about the relationship outside of the ring. There was a lot of love in that ring from the beginning of that match to the end of that match. And the way that they went about basically trying to prove their point to the New Japan audience, to people in management, to the boys in the back. We're going to bring this company out of this supposed obscurity that everybody keeps talking about. And for me, they did it, man. 5 stars it's justifiable for a draw here. The emotion, obviously the style of pro wrestling that this projected and personified was something I thought that was missing from New Japan for a while. We then saw that match between Kenny and Gabe. We were like, yeah, this is what we need, more of this. Then we get this Gabe versus Tsuji match. Gabe's got 2 matches under his belt in a month and a half span. It's like, yo, matches of the year kind of candidates, bro. Like, Gabe Kidd is in this stratosphere, folks. Gabe Kidd.
He's looking like the wrestler of the year so far. Like, these 2 matches, like, I don't think anyone has a better 2 matches than that this year.
So, I think that the match itself speaks for itself. The 2 talents that were in this match, as SP3 said, they're going to carry this company for the next decade. As long as New Japan, not New Japan, as long as Bushiroad decides we're going to pay these 2 young men to stay in our company and be the faces of our company, let's ride the train. Let's ride the train. We're going to see what's going to happen with Shooter, what this evolution is going to be. I'll say it. Fuck Ren Narita. And fuck Ren Narita. There's no necessity there. And you still have stalwarts in every other division at this point. Fujita is the future, obviously, as we understand, of the junior division and things of that nature. We'll see as to what this new crop of young lions does from a character perspective. Daiki Nagai is strong. Murashima has a lot of fire. Yasuda's the sleeper, though. He hasn't had a lot of time yet, but he's a sleeper because he's a great athlete, and I think he's going to be able to get. He's going to be able to get what they do real quick. So watch out for him necessarily. And yeah, man, we are in a good way with New Japan right now, and this match cemented it. And this wasn't even the main event. At the end of the day.
No.
This wasn't.
The main event had to follow this.
Yes.
And somehow, some way, it did. Spoiler alert. But yes, we'll talk about that shortly here. We do got another super chat donation from our good brother Genesis J, the number 1 J News fan, Genesis J, who says, J News preaching. We listen. Woof woof.
It's my dog for real, man. It's my dog for real. Always appreciate it. Always appreciate it. But yeah, man, we gonna head into this main event. That crowd, dude.
That's high for Big Man Dogs, by the way. That's a 5-star. Like, if Big Man Dogs gives it 4 3/4, I probably gave it 5 stars.
Fair enough. That crowd, though, even though they were behind Gabe Kidd, they were also behind Tsuji. That shit was as 50-50 as 50-50
yes.
can get.
Yes, it was not. It wasn't like Wrestle Dynasty where the crowd really turned on Kenny and was booing some of his action. They didn't boo Tsuji. They were into Tsuji. You had the Tsuji chants, you had the Gabe chants, like, and even with Drilla and Shingo earlier in the night, you had the wolves and the wolf like they like, you could, especially after this angle too. I wanted to ask you this. Do you think that New Japan could possibly turn the Bullet Club War Dogs babyface, the whole entire group, not just Gabe?
Because of the way that the fans have decided to get behind the War Dogs, because of what they represent as a group and as wrestlers, right? That shift, because of what the House of Torture thing just did, it happened. It already happened. It happened already. The only person they got to get on board with this, right, is their esteemed leader, right? Their so-called leaders got to be on board with this. So
I can see him doing the like who is it? I can see him doing like the Tama Tonga Tonga Loa thing. where they'll be with David Finlay will be and do this fight with Gabe Kidd against the House of Torture. But once that's done, we got to cut you loose. Like Tama and the boys did to Kenny and the Elite.
So they still
once Kenny got through Cody, they was like, time to cut
I still get my wish at the end of the day. He still gets beat down. So that's what you're saying.
Gabe Kidd, yes, Gabe Kidd.
Gabe Kidd, no, because you got to make.
No, Gabe Kidd is the only one who can stand on his own. He's the one that can stand on his own. David Finlay needs to be the leader of the group.
But if you turn the whole group face, how does that work?
You turn them face for the feud with the House of Torture. Because honestly, the best heel faction in the company is the War Dogs. So you're just doing it for this feud with House of Torture because House of Torture are more hated or more despised or more channel changing worthy than the War Dogs. That's why they're more hated in New Japan. You do it for this feud. You get Finlay and Gabe to get the win together, and then immediately you take it away and you have them turn back heel by turning on Gabe.
Damn, man, I don't, man, with all that passion that 100 proof was showing on the microphone, man, him turning on Gabe, I don't know, man, I don't know, I just can't see it, man, I can't see it, but we'll see how it all goes down.
We shall see. And then finally, you have the main event of the new beginning in Osaka, IWGP World Heavyweight Championship up for grabs. Zack Sabre Jr. defends against the winner of the New Japan Rambo at Wrestle Kingdom, Hirooki Goto. Hirooki Goto had a bunch of momentum going into this matchup, and boy, oh boy, did they put the pressure on. They give him a big video at the start of his entrance where he goes through all of his previous losses, his 8 previous failed attempts to win the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, which just got this Osaka crowd to rally behind him like no crowd in New Japan Pro Wrestling recent history has got behind a babyface. My Lord, Goto chants to the point you couldn't even hear his music during his entrance. Sabre and Goto, they lock up early, the latter switching to his more power-based style, getting the upper hand against Sabre Jr., though his arm became a target for ZSJ. Goto found the strength to down him with the Ushikoroshi, throwing Sabre about the ring. Goto maintained a pace built on his hope and desperation and determination. Sabre Jr. sought it out, broke it up, twisting at and contorting at the arm of Goto. Out of nowhere, he hits the Zack driver, but he was not able to get the cover at this point. Osaka was giving Goto the warm reception upon his entrance. They were making their voices heard throughout this matchup. Goto, 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 loud chants throughout this matchup. Whenever Goto looked like he was in trouble, you get Sabre Jr. working over the arm, getting for different submissions at different points. He gets him in one of his crazy submission contortions, but Goto is able to get out of it, gets a near fall on a roll-up. A reverse GTR failed, and that gave way to another Zack driver, but Goto's able to kick out, but Goto is immediately locked into an arm submission. Hope is turning to dreadful agony as we remember that Goto has failed on multiple attempts, and Sabre Jr. has always quelled these underdog stories in this similar fashion. He's grabbing at different limbs, but Goto somehow, some way is able to get to the ropes. Sabre Jr. is able to get a European clutch for a close near fall. He's in Sabre's clutches, but then Goto's able to get away. He gets a sleeper hold into a penalty kick, a callback, a call out to his longtime tag team partner and friend, Katsuyori Shibata. Rising through, we get Goto hits a big old lariat, turning Sabre Jr. inside out. He follows up with the GTW, but Sabre Jr. kicks out again. The crowd is getting louder, anticipation building. They're like, all he has to do is hit this damn GTR. And the final 5 minutes is one of the most thrilling, edge of your seat experiences I've ever had watching a main event title match in pro wrestling history. Like, they based this whole final 5 minutes around Goto going for the GTR and Zack having 400 different ways to reverse the GTR. Zack had a flurry of slaps across Goto's face, but Goto drops him with a series of headbutts. Hits a big old lariat to a loud chorus of Goto chants and cheers. They would subsequently go even further. He hits a reverse GTR. They know it's in the ground, the ring, the camera. It's freaking shaking at this point. They know he's close. He goes for another GTR. Zack reverses it into a backslide. He tries to go for another arm submission. Goto hits it with another headbutt, another lariat. Finally, he hits another reverse GTR. He hits a regular GTR. One final GTR. 1, 2, 3. New IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Hirooki Goto. Just 5 months after Zack Sabre Jr. had what we thought could have not be topped for the happiest ending to a New Japan major show that we've seen. Hirooki Goto somehow, some way tops that. Tears running down his eyes as he takes the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, the title being placed around his waist. You get his family, his kids being brought into the ring. Goto thanks the fans. He thanks his family. He announces that he would be giving a IWGP Heavyweight Championship matchup to one of the greatest ever, Hiroshi Tanahashi. He will face him at the 53rd anniversary on March 3rd. You also get backstage. Goto gets his little interview, the post-show interview, and Yuji Nagata approaches Goto. He wants to be the next challenger after Tanahashi, and Walker Stewart announces that Chris Charlton would be back from suspension in March, so we shall probably see him on the 53rd anniversary. But wow. What a match. What a night. It is official. It will be Hirooki Goto defending the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Hiroshi Tanahashi, March 3rd, the 53rd anniversary show. But Jesus Christ, I've never been like that. I was like, that was a rush of adrenaline watching that final stretch. That closing stretch is the most edge of your seat stuff you can get. And I said this on Indies and I'll repeat it here. The big emotional happy endings of last year, Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, Bryan Danielson at All In, even Sting's retirement at Revolution. We all knew that was going to happen going in. We all knew those things were probably going to happen. And it was a good chance that most of those things, probably the one that was most up in the air was probably Swerve and Bryan, because Swerve was on a roll as champion. But most of us, a majority of us knew all those things were going to happen before those shows. Hirooki Goto was something that, yes, he had a lot of momentum going in. But if you're a New Japan fan and you have the PTSD of 8 failed attempts, you did not think you would see this happen. So that's why it might be one of the greatest happy endings to a pro wrestling show ever. This match was high adrenaline, hard hitting, the fighting spirit, all the New Japan tropes that you would want from a New Japan staple main event. And it went under 25 minutes. Yeah. For that alone, 5 stars. 5 stars. I'm sorry. 5 stars for that alone.
Yeah, it's interesting. There are times when you watch professional wrestling and you say to yourself, "Yeah, this was pretty cool. This is a good match," or something took you out of your seat, like when in the last match when Gabe turned that Gene Blaster into that pile driver. I was shook out of myself. I was like, "What the fuck? How did he do that?" Type deal. And then you watch matches that just get you all in your feels about shit, man. For years, I've been talking about Goto getting one last run. For years. And people were like, "Nah, man, just forget it, dog. It's over." You know what I'm saying? He ain't getting it. That shot's not coming. He's not gonna be the champion. And I was like, man, Okada's gone, dog. Okada's gone. The top of the food chain right now, isn't as strong as it once was. Tanahashi's older, and you still need the Japanese vet at the top of the food chain to make this all worth round. That's been along for a long period of time, right? Who's got the tenure with New Japan. And Goto's that dude, man. Goto's that dude. And for him to finally get the win here was, it was special, man. It was special. They had the kids come in and everything else in between. They didn't ruin his moment and stuff. They didn't have a post-match deliberation happen and all that jazz. And the emotion was felt throughout that match. The crowd was just hanging on by every single move that was going on, much like the Tsuji versus Gabe Kid match, but differently, because there was more emotion attached to this. Because, like you said, 8 different challenges throughout his career and no wins, and he finally has it, and everybody's like, he's so close, he's so close, he's so close. Do it, goddammit, do it. But he didn't hesitate to put down the final blow. He put 2 GTRs in a row to Zack Sabre Jr. to make sure he cemented that win, and he got that win. And I said to myself, well, I be damned. They did the thing. They did the thing. And, I give Gato a lot of shit. We all give Gato a lot of shit. But you did right here, man. You did right here. And as a longtime fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling and as a fan of Hirooki Goto, thank you, New Japan, for making this happen. SP3 said earlier that the reign's going to be short. I'm sure, because he's a babyface, and babyface reigns are short. But I feel like he deserves at least as much time or as Zack got with the championship. Depending as to whoever they want to put in his road. They got obviously he's got the match against Tana. He'll probably have his match against Nagata and things of that nature. So we'll see as to who picks up the heat going into the later shows in the year to go up against Goto, and we'll see where it all goes from there. But definitely a fantastic moment. A lot of people always say wrestling is about the moments, and yes, very true. Wrestling is about the moments, but you don't get many a moment like this. Right, like you said, you mentioned Cody and things of that nature, and last year at WrestleMania, and you other things that have happened throughout the years and whatnot. But this, man, this was if you're a long time New Japan wrestling fan and you understand the just the backstory, man, the history, right, and everything else in between. It's like, man, this is like a cathartic moment, and it happened. Yeah. And it paid off. And now he can go and retire and say he was the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion and nobody be able to take away from him, man. You know what I'm saying? So shouts to Goto. Shouts to Yoshihashi for being there and being by his side the entire time and never being the jealous friend and being able to put
he celebrated that like he won the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. And
and for them to be, they've been the stalwarts of that tag team division for years now. Bishimon's been their mainstay tag team. And for Goto to be able to just pivot from being one of their strongest singles wrestlers for a long period of time to just doing tag team work for the last couple of years, so then pivot back, and they basically reran the narrative and showed everybody where Goto's lineage was, and they put all the video packages together and everything. That's production. That's the storytelling you need in order for something like this to go off and the people get behind it. And they did this one right, man. And I got to say, New Japan, in my estimation right now, has been able to turn the page from where they were basically 3 or 4
years ago.
Yeah, a year ago. You know what I'm saying? And
a year ago, it was Osaka last year was like a season finale for New Japan.
Yeah.
That was Okada's final match with Tanahashi. That was the Bryan and Zack matchup that had Naito and Sanada in the main event. but like it felt like a culmination. And then what would happen next would be like the figuring out process when we had freaking Dolph Ziggler and Matt Riddle holding titles here. But this felt like the season premiere.
Yeah, it does. And obviously we've got some time in between tours. So Fantastica Mania begins on the 27th. That's only going to be 2 or 3 days. So that's not going to last too long. Then they have the anniversary show, and then after the anniversary show, they're heading into Windy City Riot, which is in April, and stuff.
No, New Japan Cup.
New Japan, sorry, yeah, New Japan Cup, and then Riot. Yeah, man, it's
and then it's the Courage Genesis and Riot, I think, in the same week, if I'm not mistaken.
That's true. Yeah, man, it's they're on good standing right now. They got to ride this train. If you will, it is a new beginning.
If you will, it's a new beginning. If you will,
but I feel like they have places they can go, right? From a heel perspective, they have places they can go. If they wanna make one of their new generation guys, there's a heel perspective they can go. Mm-hmm. If they wanna continue to evolve one of their gaijin talents, they have a way they can go, and things of that nature. Because there's other talent on the card that can definitely ruffle some feathers and things of that. Should I say ruffle some feathers and things of that nature? So we'll see how it all breaks down. I'm glad that we're getting the return of certain talents during the New Japan Cup, not necessarily knowing if they're actually signed to the company or not, if they're just doing purse deals. But you know, we have it for now, and we got to enjoy it while we have it. So Goto as the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion is a light in today's wrestling world, and it is Wednesday, so you know what that means. So at the end of the day,
there you go.
That's where we're at.
Let us know in the live chat. Final call for super chat donations. Thank you to everyone who's shown their support so far today. And of course, let us know in the live chat your match of the night, your MVP, your LVP, whether you gave the show a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. And out of 10, what did you give the show, The New Beginning in Osaka? For me, NJ News for The New Beginning in Osaka 2025 in 3, 2, 1. Thumbs up across the board from both of us. 2 big thumbs up. Out of 10, I'm going to give this show a 9.5 out of 10. Setting the bar high for 2025. The New Beginning in Osaka, 9.5.
I thought the same thing, dude. I said the same number, Matt. 9.5. Can't get any better than where we're at. The 0.5 goes to, you know what it goes to at the end of the day, but it is what it is. So, you know, it is what it is. So we'll have that there. I think that the anniversary show is going to be a good show as well. I hope that Goto and Tana have a decent foray at the anniversary show. We shall.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know, but you know, that's the hope at the end of the day, right? That's the hope. So we'll see how it all goes from there.
We shall. Then we got what was your match of the night?
Oh man. Yeah, you know what? Match of the night was Tsuji versus Kid. That was my match of the night and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, I am definitely with you. Mm-hmm. I kind of want to go co-match tonight because I gave 2 matches 5 stars. They had back-to-back 5-star matches. They all deserve some love. But yeah, if I had to pick one, I would say a match that I'm still giving 5 for a non-finish, basically. Yeah, that'll probably should be the one that's match of the night. So I'll go with Kid versus Tsuji. MVP for the show,
Hirooki Goto. Hirooki Goto. That's why I gave the match. That's why I was like, guy, I'm gonna give the match to Kid and Tsuji, but the MVP is gonna be Goto at the end of the day. So
yeah, that's right. That's also was the deciding factor for me. And LVP for the show, Toge Makabe.
Yeah. Let's be real about this, folks. Let's be real. Anyways,
it was not evil. Sorry, Banda.
No,
usually we always love to pick on evil, but he had a good return.
Yeah, he actually had a decent return. He had purpose here. Most nights he doesn't serve a purpose. He had purpose. So
he had purpose. Toge Makabe.
Get out of here. No.
But yes, thank you so much to everyone who joined us in the chat. Always have fun talking about these shows with you. But yeah, like Jay News has been saying, we got a lot of fun stuff coming up from New Japan Pro Wrestling. So be on the lookout. We'll be Jay News. We'll be probably doing some stuff on Fatascaramania. He loves that time of the year, where we'll be back with our usual gang, probably me, Jay News, and Sanal to preview the 53rd anniversary show, as well as the New Japan Cup. We'll also be doing a review of the 53rd anniversary show. We'll be doing a review of the New Japan Cup finals. So you got plenty of content to enjoy from us here, J News. Let everybody know where they can follow you on social media. Until then,
y'all can follow me on the Twitter machine at John LYFNMG. Y'all can follow me on the Instagram on the same thing, or _JONJY. Shouts to everybody who hits me up over there as well. You can follow me and or listen to me via the other podcast that I do with the lovely Dolores every Sunday night, 9 p.m. As a matter of fact, let me get rid of that spiel. Going forward, Sundays, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Hit the Roast podcast will be happening because we had to make that change because your good brother Jay News, the baseball season has begun, folks. And if y'all don't know, your good brother is a employee of Major League Baseball. So I do what I got to do. So there's that. And so the Hit the Roast podcast, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sundays. That's where me and Dolores go over the week that was in pro wrestling. So we do our reviews of all things indie and some of the major companies and things of that nature. So check me out there. And then next time, me and SP3 will be doing this damn thing. We'll probably be previewing the anniversary show. And the anniversary show is on March 3rd.
March 3rd, which is a Monday,
right? All right. So we'll probably do a preview on Friday.
Yeah, probably like a Friday, because we'll do Elimination Chamber Wednesday. So yeah, that works. But yes, we got a lot in store for you. If you're a fan of all things wrestling, we got plenty of great content for you to enjoy here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. I will be back live tomorrow. I believe that's going to be at 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time with AE Ramble reviewing tonight's AEW Dynamite from Austin, Texas. MJF versus Dustin Rhodes. You got the Hurt Syndicate versus the Guns, the Undisputed Kingdom versus the Death Riders. Join us for that tomorrow. We'll be reviewing that. Then we got our preview for AEW Grand Slam Australia, as well as NXT Vengeance Day. I'll be joined by Fightful Select's own Corey Brennan to preview those two cards. Then we got the flagship podcast, the True Hill Heat flagship podcast, on Saturday, 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time. Sunday, we'll have a review of Grand Slam. Monday, we'll have a review of NXT Vengeance Day. So a lot for you to enjoy here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. So hit the subscribe button and the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. Follow us on the Twitter machine, as well as Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, True Hill Heat, and patreon.com/True Hill Heat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content. The best way to support us when we are not live here. For J News, it is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. This has been our NJPW, the New Beginning in Osaka 2025 review. Hirooki Goto is IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. The Revolution was televised on NXT, but also in Osaka. We are signing off until next time.